You want me to do what now? Captain Sarah Blaze Rodriguez raised an eyebrow at the holographic image of her commanding officer, her voice a perfect blend of disbelief and amusement. Admiral Zix-Nathar, a towering insectoid alien with iridescent compies, chittered irritably. Captain Rodriguez, I assure you this is no laughing matter. The situation on Pyrosia Prime is critical. Sarah couldn't help but snort, a grin tugging at the corners of her mouth. Oh, I'm sure it is, sir. But let me get this straight. You want me, a human from Earth, to lead a rescue mission on a planet that's literally on fire? That is correct, Captain. The Admiral's mandibles clicked in what Sarah had come to recognize as exasperation. The Pyrosian government specifically requested Earth's assistance. Your unique physiology makes you ideal for this mission. Ah yes, our unique physiology, Sarah air-quoted, her voice dripping with sarcasm. You mean the fact that we're batshit crazy Deathworlders who think running into burning buildings is a fun career choice? The Admiral's antennae twitched. I would not have phrased it quite so colorfully, but essentially yes. Sarah leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. And what exactly is the nature of this critical situation, sir? Did someone forget to turn off the stove? Captain Rodriguez, please. Zix-Nahar's multifaceted eyes somehow managed to convey a look of long-suffering patience. Massive solar flare has ignited Pyrosia Prime's atmosphere. The entire planet is engulfed in a firestorm. Millions of Pyrosians are trapped in emergency shelters, but those shelters are failing. We need a team to go in, stabilize the situation, and evacuate the civilians. Aha, Sarah nodded, her expression deadpan. And I suppose all the other species in the Galactic Federation are busy washing their hair that day. The Admiral's exoskeleton took on a distinctly purplish hue, the alien equivalent of a blush. The atmospheric temperatures on Pyrosia Prime are prohibitive for most species. And even with our most advanced protective gear, no other race can withstand more than a few minutes of exposure. But us crazy humans can, right? Sarah's grin was positively feral now, because we evolved on a death trap of a planet where everything was trying to kill us, including the weather. That is an oversimplification, but not entirely inaccurate, Zix-Nathar admitted reluctantly. Sarah threw her head back and laughed, the sound echoing through her office. Oh man, this is rich. You guys think our planet is hell, and now you want us to save your asses from actual hell. The Admiral's antennae drooped. Captain, I understand this may seem amusing to you, but billions of lives are at stake. Will you accept the mission or not? Sarah's laughter tapered off, but her eyes still sparkled with mischief. Oh, I'll take the mission, sir. Hell, I'll even enjoy it. It'll be just like that summer I spent as a wild firefighter in California, except, planet-wide. Zix-Nathar's mandibles clicked rapidly, the alien equivalent of a sigh of relief. Thank you, Captain. Your ship, the Prometheus, will rendezvous at the Pyrosian emergency beacon in 48 hours. You'll be briefed on the full situation en route. Roger that, sir, Sarah saluted, still grinning. One question, though. Do the Pyrosians prefer their heroes well done or medium rare? The Admiral's image flickered out without another word, leaving Sarah chuckling to herself in her now empty office. Well, she mused aloud, reaching for the intercom to tell the crew we're going on a little camping trip. Hope everyone packed their marshmallows. 48 hours later, the Prometheus dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the Pyrosian system. Sarah stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind her back, staring at the main view screen with a mixture of awe and barely contained excitement. Pyrosia Prime hung in the void like a malevolent orange eye, wreathed in flames that put the ship's name to shame. Massive solar flares lashed out from the system's sun, whipping the planet's atmosphere into a frenzy of fire and plasma. Well, I'll be damned, First Officer Jack Chan whispered, coming to stand beside her. It really is on fire. Sarah turned to him, her eyes gleaming. Isn't it beautiful, Jack? Reminds me of that barbecue you threw last year when you forgot to check the propane levels. Jack winced. Low blow, Captain. I thought we agreed never to speak of the incident again. Oh, please, Sarah waved a hand dismissively. That was nothing compared to this. This, my friend, is what I call a proper roast. The ship's sensors chimed, drawing their attention back to the view screen. A small flashing icon appeared, superimposed over the fiery maelstrom of Pyrosia Prime's upper atmosphere. Looks like we've got a lock on that emergency beacon, Sarah noted. All right, folks, let's suit up and go save some aliens. Time to show these Pyrosians why they call us the Fireborn. As the bridge crew scrambled to their stations, Sarah strode towards the elevator, Jack falling into step beside her. So what's the plan, Blaze? He asked, using her old call sign from their days in the Terran Space Marines. Sarah's grin was positively predatory. Oh, you know me, Jack. I always have a plan. Step 1, don't get burnt to a crisp. Step 2, find the Perosians. Step 3, get them out of there. Step 4, look incredibly badass while doing it all. Jack rolled his eyes. That's not a plan, that's a wish list. Potato, Sarah shrugged as they entered the elevator. Deck 5, Armory, she commanded, and the elevator hummed to life. Jack mused as they descended. I've been thinking, if the Perosians' emergency shelters are failing, how exactly are we supposed to evacuate them? The Prometheus is a tough old bird, but even she can't withstand those kinds of temperatures for long. Sarah's grin widened. That, my dear Oxo, is where the fun begins. Remember that little project RD has been working on? The one they swore would revolutionize emergency response on extreme worlds? Jack's eyes widened. You don't mean? Oh yes, I do, Sarah nodded, practically bouncing on her toes. We're going to field test the adamantine armored rescue vehicles. Triple-layered ceramical armor, internal cooling systems that would make a polar bear sweat, and enough juice to punch through that firestorm like it's tissue paper. The elevator doors hissed open, revealing the bustling armory. Crew members rushed back and forth, donning sleek, silver environmental suits that seemed to shimmer and reflect the harsh lighting. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah called out, her voice cutting through the controlled chaos. Today we make history. Today we spit in the face of a solar flare and tell it to chill out. Today we show the galaxy why you don't fuck with the descendants of Prometheus. A cheer went up from the assembled crew, a mix of laughter and determined shouts. As Sarah made her way to her personal locker, she couldn't help but feel a thrill of anticipation. So was what she lived for. The impossible missions, the chance to push the boundaries of what was considered survivable. As she began to don her own Inverasuit, a thought occurred to her. She turned to Jack, who was halfway into his own suit. Hey Jack, she called out, her voice laden with mock seriousness. Do you think the Perosians will be offended if we bring hot sauce? I mean, their whole planet is basically one big hot pot right now. Jack groaned, shaking his head. I swear, Blaze, one of these days that smart-ass mouth of yours is going to get us into trouble. And Sarah winked at him. Nah, it'll be fine. Besides, if things get too hot to handle, we can always blame it on solar radiation frying our brains. As the last piece of her Inverasuit clicked into place, Sarah took a moment to admire her reflection in the polished surface of a nearby bulkhead. The suit was a marvel of human engineering, lightweight yet stronger than steel, with a heads-up display that made her feel like she was in a video game. All right, people, she called out, her voice slightly muffled by the helmet. Let's move out. Those Perosians aren't going to rescue themselves, and I for one am getting hungry for some action. The crew filed out of the armory and towards the hangar bay where the adamantine armored rescue vehicles, affectionately dubbed Turtles by the RD team, waited. As they walked, Sarah couldn't help but hum a jaunty tune. Is that Disco Inferno? Jack asked incredulously. Sarah's only response was to sing louder. Burn, baby, burn. The descent into Perosia Prime's atmosphere was like plunging into the heart of a star. The Turtles, for all their advanced technology, shuddered and groaned as they pierced the wall of fire that engulfed the planet. Sarah, at the controls of the lead vehicle, whooped with exhilaration. Now this is what I call a hot drop. How you holding up back there, Jack? Her Exo's face appeared on a small screen to her left, looking decidedly green around the gills. I think I preferred your barbecue, Blaze. At least there, the only thing in danger of being cooked was the food. Oh, come on, Sarah grinned, deftly maneuvering around a particularly nasty-looking plasma eddy. Where's your sense of adventure? This is just like that time we went skydiving into that Category 5 hurricane. I hated that too, Jack grumbled. Remind me again why I keep following you into these insane situations? Sarah's grin softened into a genuine smile. Because you're the best damn Exo in the fleet, and you know someone's got to keep me from doing anything too crazy. Too late for that, Jack muttered, but there was a hint of a smile on his face too. The Turtles broke through the worst of the firestorm, revealing the scorched landscape of Perosia Prime below. What had once been a lush, verdant world now looked like the set of a post-apocalyptic movie. Rivers of lava cut through blackened plains, while in the distance mountains belched ash and fire into the already choked sky. Yesh, Sarah muttered, her jovial mood dampening slightly at the sight. And I thought my cooking looked bad. Captain, the voice of Lieutenant Aisha Kapoor, their sensors officer, crackled over the comm. I'm picking up multiple life signs about 20 clicks east of our position. Looks like one of the main emergency shelters. Roger that, Lieutenant, Sarah replied. All business now. All units, form up on me. We're going in hot, literally and figuratively? The squadron of turtles banked as one, heading towards the coordinates Aisha had provided. As they drew closer, Sarah could make out a massive dome-like structure, its once gleaming surface now scorched and pitted. "That doesn't look good," Jack commented, worry evident in his voice. Sarah had to agree. The shelter's outer shell was clearly compromised in several places, and even from this distance she could see the telltale shimmer of failing force fields. "All right, people, listen up," she broadcast to all units. "We've got civilians in danger and not a lot of time. Team Alpha, you're with me. We're going in to start the evac. Team Bravo, set up a perimeter and keep an eye on those force fields. If they go down completely, we're going to have a whole lot of extra crispy pyrosians on our hands." A chorus of acknowledgments rang out as the teams split off to their assigned tasks. Sarah guided her turtle towards what looked like the main entrance of the shelter, a massive airlock built to accommodate the pyrosians' larger frames. "Jack, you're up," she called out. "Work your magic and get us inside." Jack's fingers flew over his console, interfacing with the shelter's systems. "It's not pretty, Blaze," he reported after a tense minute. "Their internal atmosphere is barely holding. One wrong move and we could depressurize the whole place." Sarah bit her lip, considering their options. "Can you get us a secure link to whoever's in charge in there?" "Working on it," Jack muttered. A moment later, a new face appeared on Sarah's display, distinctly alien, with elongated features and skin that seemed to shimmer like cooling lava. "This is Grand Curator Zixlith of Pyrotia Prime." The alien's voice was strained but dignified. "Who addresses us?" Sarah straightened in her seat, putting on her best official voice. "Grand Curator, I'm Captain Sarah Rodriguez of the Terran spaceship Prometheus. We're here to get you out of this oversized oven you call a planet." The Pyrosians' eyes widened, all 6 of them. "Terrans? But how? The temperatures outside are—" Yeah, certain death for most species, big ball of fire, etc." Sarah waved a hand dismissively. "Look, we can discuss the finer points of human heat resistance later. Right now, I need you to tell me how many of your people are in there and what kind of shape they're in." Zixlith seemed to gather himself. "We have approximately 10,000 souls in this shelter, Captain. Many are injured and our medical supplies are running low. The heat, even our biology cannot withstand it indefinitely." Sarah nodded grimly. "Understood. We're going to start bringing in our evacuation vehicles. I need you to organize your people into groups, prioritizing the injured and the young. Can you do that for me?" The Pyrosian's head bobbed in what Sarah assumed was a nod. "Yes, of course, but Captain, how will you?" "Don't you worry about that, Curator," Sarah grinned. "We humans have a few tricks up our sleeves. Just be ready to move when we give the word." As the communication cut off, Sarah turned to Jack. "All right, time to put these overgrown tortoises to the test. Let's see if they're as adamantine as advertised." With a series of precise maneuvers, Sarah guided her turtle right up to the main airlock. The vehicle systems interfaced with the shelters, creating a sealed corridor between the two. "Showtime," Sarah muttered, unbuckling her harness. She grabbed a portable force field generator, another piece of cutting-edge human tech, and made her way to the turtle's exit hatch. As the hatch opened, revealing the airlock beyond, Sarah couldn't help but feel a twinge of excitement. This was it, first contact with a new alien species in the middle of a planetary inferno. Just another day at the office for humanity's finest. "Jack," she called back over her shoulder. "If I don't make it back, tell my pet cactus I love it. And water it occasionally, yeah." She heard Jack's exasperated sigh even through the comm. "Just try not to set any speed records for catching on fire, Blaze." With a jaunty salute, Sarah stepped into the airlock. As the inner door opened, revealing the interior of the Pyrosian shelter, she was hit by a wall of heat that made her and Varusuit's cooling systems kick into overdrive. "Whew," she whistled, blinking sweat out of her eyes. "And I thought my aunt's curry was hot. So this gives a whole new meaning to warm welcome." The interior of the shelter was a scene of organized chaos. Thousands of Pyrosians huddled together, their normally vibrant, lava-like skin dulled to a worrying ashen gray. The air shimmered with heat, and Sarah could see stress fractures forming on the shelter's inner walls. A tall Pyrosian approached her, moving with a grace that belied the dire situation. "Captain Rodriguez, I presume?" "I am Grand Curator Zixlith. We cannot express our gratitude for your arrival." Sarah grinned, the expression hidden behind her helmet's faceplate. "Save the thanks for when we're all sipping cool drinks on my ship, Curator. Now, let's get your people out of here before this place turns into the galaxy's biggest pressure cooker." She activated her comm link. "Jack, we're good to go. Start bringing in the rest of the turtles." We've got about 10,000 very crispy aliens to evacuate. Roger that, Blaze. Jack's voice crackled back. The rest of the team is moving in now. We've got about 2 hours before those force fields give out completely. 2 hours to evacuate 10,000 aliens from a planet that's literally on fire. Sarah chuckled. Piece of cake. I've had tougher time limits on pizza deliveries. She turned back to Zixlith, who was watching her with a mixture of confusion and hope. All right, Curator, here's the plan. We've got a fleet of vehicles outside that can withstand this heat. We'll load your people in groups starting with the most vulnerable. I need you to organize them quickly but calmly. Can you handle that? The Pyrosian's 6 eyes blinked in rapid succession. Yes, Captain. We have already begun the process, as you suggested earlier. But forgive me, how can your vehicles possibly protect us from the inferno outside? Sarah's grin widened. Let's just say that where we come from, this kind of weather is considered a mild inconvenience. Now, let's move. Over the next hour and a half, Sarah and her team worked tirelessly to evacuate the Pyrosians. The aliens watched in awe as the humans moved through the scorching heat with determination and even a degree of nonchalance. As Sarah helped a young Pyrosian into one of the turtles, she overheard 2 of the aliens conversing. By the flame, did you see that? The human lifted Grix nor like he weighed nothing. And in this heat. I heard they come from a world where the ground shakes and spits fire regularly. They call them volcanoes, I think? Sarah chuckled to herself. If they thought volcanoes were impressive, wait until they heard about Australian summers. So as the evacuation progressed, the situation inside the shelter grew increasingly dire. The force fields flickered ominously, and the heat continued to rise to levels that even the Pyrosians found uncomfortable. Captain. Jack's urgent voice came over the comm. We've got a problem. The shelter's structural integrity is failing faster than we anticipated. We've got maybe 20 minutes before this whole place comes down. Sarah cursed under her breath. They had evacuated most of the Pyrosians, but there were still a few hundred left. Zixlith, she called out to the Grand Curator, we need to speed things up. Get everyone moving now. The Pyrosian nodded gravely and began shouting orders in his native tongue. The remaining aliens surged towards the turtles with renewed urgency. Sarah stood at the entrance, directing the flow of evacuees and helping those who stumbled. The heat was becoming unbearable even for her, and she could feel her suit's cooling system straining to keep up. Just as the last group of Pyrosians was boarding the turtles, a deafening crack echoed through the shelter. Sarah looked up to see a massive fissure forming in the ceiling. Everyone out now, she yelled, pushing the last few stragglers towards safety. As she turned to follow, a section of the ceiling collapsed, sending a wave of superheated air and debris rushing towards her. Without thinking, Sarah threw herself over a young Pyrosian who had fallen behind. The impact knocked the wind out of her, and she felt a searing pain across her back where her suit had been breached. Gritting her teeth against the pain, she scooped up the terrified alien and sprinted for the nearest turtle. Go, 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 she shouted as she dove into the vehicle. The hatch ceiling shut behind her, just as another section of the shelter collapsed. Inside the turtle, Sarah slumped against the wall, her breathing ragged. The young Pyrosian stared at her with wide, disbelieving eyes. You saved me, it said in halting English. Why? The heat could have killed you. Sarah managed a pained grin. Kid, where I come from, running into burning buildings is considered a respectable career choice. This is just a Tuesday. As the turtle lifted off, leaving the crumbling shelter behind, Sarah activated her comm. Jack, please tell me everyone made it out. There was a moment of tense silence before Jack's relieved voice came through. All accounted for, Blaze. Though from the looks of your suit's telemetry, you cut it a bit close there. Sarah chuckled, wincing as the movement aggravated her burns. You know me, Jack. I like to make an entrance and an exit. The journey back to the Prometheus was a blur of pain and fatigue for Sarah. As soon as they docked, she was whisked away to the medbay. Protests that she was just a little singe falling on deaf ears. Hours later, Sarah sat on a bio bed, her back covered in regenerative gel packs, as she gave her report to Admiral Zixnathar. The insectoid alien's holographic image flickered with what Sarah had come to recognize as intense emotion. Captain Rodriguez, the Admiral's voice was filled with awe. You and your team have accomplished the impossible. The Pyrosian government is hailing you as heroes. The Galactic Federation is, well, quite frankly, they're in shock. Sarah grinned, the expression only slightly strained by pain. Just doing our job, sir. Though I have to say, if this is the Federation's idea of a milk run, I'd hate to see what they consider a real challenge. The Admiral's mandibles clicked rapidly, his species' equivalent of laughter. Indeed, Captain. Your unique perspective continues to astound us. I don't suppose you'd be willing to give a presentation to the Federation Council on human emergency response techniques. Sarah's grin turned mischievous. Only if I can title it How to Beat the Heat, a Human's Guide to Not Becoming Barbecue. Oh, and I'm going to need a lot of ice for my presentation, for demonstration purposes. As the Admiral's image flickered out, Sarah leaned back carefully, mindful of her injuries. Jack entered the med bay, shaking his head in fond exasperation. So Blaze, he said, pulling up a chair next to her bed, was it everything you hoped for? Daring rescue, impossible odds, literally playing with fire. Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement. Oh, Jack, it was better than I could have imagined. Did you see the looks on those Pyrosians' faces when we walked through that inferno like it was a day at the beach? Priceless. Jack chuckled. Only you would find a planet-wide firestorm exciting. So what's next? Swimming in lava? Skydiving into a black hole? Don't tempt me, Sarah waggled her eyebrows. But first I think I've earned a vacation. Somewhere nice and cool. Maybe that ice planet in the Frigga system. I hear they have excellent skiing. As Jack groaned at the prospect of another relaxing trip that would inevitably turn into an adventure, Sarah couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. This was why humanity had joined the Galactic Federation, not just to explore new worlds, but to push the boundaries of what was possible, to rush in where others feared to tread. And if they happened to save a few billion aliens and look incredibly badass while doing it, well, that was just a bonus. As the Prometheus sped away from the still-burning Perosia Prime, carrying its cargo of grateful refugees, Sarah Rodriguez closed her eyes and smiled. Just another day in the life of a human in space. She couldn't wait to see what the universe would throw at them next. After all, to a species that evolved on a Deathworld, the galaxy was nothing but one big, exciting playground. And humanity was just getting started.